What's up, everybody? Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 12 of albums that are 50 years old in 2024. Of course, we're looking back on 1974, picking out our 31 favorites because there's 31 days in January across all genres. Today, for pick number 12, I'm going to go back all the way to February 15th, 1974. It's the 8th studio album from this British band. Recorded at Montreux in Switzerland with the Rolling Stones Mobile Studio, produced by the band themselves for Purple Records. I'm talking about Deep Purple Burn. That's right. One of my favorite bands of all time. One of my favorite albums by them. This, of course, is the first album of the Mark III era of the band, where you had Ritchie Blackmore on guitars, John Lord, Hammond organ and keyboards, and Ian Pace on drums, founding members bringing on board David Coverdale on lead and backing vocals, and Glenn Hughes lead and backing vocals and bass guitar, essentially replacing Ian Gillan and Roger Glover in the band. Martin Birch also was the engineer and worked on the mixing on this particular album. Yeah, I mean, for me, a classic, one of the great albums of all time, which signified a significant lineup change in a very significant band. I mean, this is, to me, a drop-dead classic. You got the title track, which kicks it off. Probably my favorite title track of all time. It's a top 3 Deep Purple song for me. Burn is just terrific. That riff is just great. The organ solo, the guitar solo, the vocal from Coverdale, the vocal from Hughes on the chorus, man, just so great. Then you got Might Just Take Your Life, the beginning of a little bit of that funk element added to the band, which, of course, you got the funk element coming from Glenn Hughes, who, of course, came over from Trapeze, which was a great heavy rock and funk band. You got the soulful vocals of Coverdale. Lay Down, Stay Down, terrific fast-paced rocker there. Then you got the more kind of, what do you call Sail Away? It's kind of psychedelic, kind of moody, right? Terrific song. Doesn't get enough credit on this album. Side 1, tremendous. And then, of course, over on side 2, you get the rampaging You Fool No One, which in concert would stretch out to like 15-20 minutes with lots of soloing and whatnot. You Fool No One, heavy, terrific, love it. The more kind of soulful, what's going on here, a little bluesy, right? Then, of course, speaking of blues, you got the lengthy, bluesy Mistreated, which is not only a great vocal from Mr. Coverdale, but what a sensational amount of guitar soloing from Heather Blackmore, as Glenn Hughes used to say live in concert. And then it finishes up with A200, a little instrumental that finishes off the album. Yeah, great stuff. Great album. And let's take a look at the charts. Australia, number 7. Austria, number 1. Canada, number 7. Danish charts, number 1. Dutch charts, number 7. Finland, number 5. France, number 4. Germany, number 1. Italy, number 3. Pretty good, Sal. What do you think of that? Japanese charts, number 11. Norway, number 1. UK album charts, number 3. And the US Billboard charts made it to number 9. Certifications: gold in France, 100,000 units sold. Germany, gold, 150,000 units sold. Sweden, gold, 50,000 units sold. UK, gold, 100,000 units sold. And in the United States, gold, as of last certification, 500,000 copies sold. 500,000, right? 500,000. Later on, Accolades Classic Rock magazine in the UK listed this as number 27 among the 100 greatest British rock albums ever. That was done in 2006. Pretty good accolades there. Might Just Take Your Life, released as a single March 4th, 1974, and then Burn, the title track, released in May. So there you have it. I'm not done yet, because this is where Mr. Pardo gets to cheat just a little bit for the first time all month. Because later that same year, in November, Stormbringer also came out. The second and final album from the Mark III era. Okay, this was the album that broke Mr. Blackmore's spirit as far as staying in the band. He would shortly after the tour leave to form Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, along with most of the band Elf, Ronnie James Dio on vocals. But yeah, Stormbringer is another terrific album that maybe not quite the quality of that one, but it's going to get I'm going to give a 2-for-1 here today because this is also terrific, and I had a hard time keeping this off. Even if, the title track is just barnstorming. You got Love Don't Mean a Thing, Holy Man, Hold On, Lady Double Dealer, Get Out of My Way. So terrific. Soldier of Fortune, The Gypsy. Man, I love The Gypsy. I mean, every song on here is really cool, but man, Gypsy is absolutely terrific. And they would go and play that live on the Stormbringer tour, and I think live it even takes on a whole new meaning. If you've ever heard, they released the Made in Europe live album after this, which would be taken from recordings from various shows on the last week or so of that final tour in Europe, specifically shows in France and a couple other places in Scandinavia. And there is a Made in Europe is terrific. I'm going totally off the rails here, but Made in Europe is terrific as is, but it should have been a double album. That's how good it is. I think, honestly, if that was full-fledged as a double album, that is as good as Made in Japan. And if you go out and get the live in Paris live album, which was released many, many years later, that basically is a good chunk of the recordings that made up Made in Europe. And if you get the live in Graz recording, that's the rest of them. So if you have those two, you basically have all the stuff that Made in Europe was pulled from, but you get the full show. So you get the Gypsy, you get them doing some Mark II stuff, just really, really dynamite. And some of Blackmore's best playing ever is on those recordings. It's like he could have just phoned it in on the final number of shows with the band, but he gave it his all. And for me, as a huge Blackmore fan, I think some of my favorite moments of him playing on any live album are from those recordings. I think he was just absolutely on fire that last week or so with Deep Purple before he left to form Rainbow. So go figure, right? Because if you know Richie, you would think that maybe he would just be like, fuck this, I'm leaving. I'll just whatever. I'm not gonna extend myself all too much. But he actually did, and maybe he was just thinking, I have a lot to prove because I'm going and starting a new band, leaving the big band, so let me go out with a bang. So maybe that was his thinking. I don't know. Whatever it was, it's just fantastic stuff. So anyway, I digress. So for today, Burn and Stormbringer, double dose today. It's the only time I'm going to do this month, so don't get used to that. Anyway, let us know what you think of one or both of these down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we get the links to our Ko-Fi page, our channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support there. It's greatly appreciated. We'll see you tomorrow for pick number 13. Stay tuned in just a little bit for Martin Popoff and myself at the Fun House. We got Ken Golden and the Professor's Picks coming up later today. Tomorrow is the UK Connection with Simon Bray and Stephen Reed, and Sunday, ranking the albums. Grant Arthur and myself will be ranking the catalog of Pablo Cruz. So lots happening over the next couple days. Don't miss any of it, and we'll see you then. I'm Pete Pardo. Take care. Bye-bye.